What is going on, everyone? Griffin here, coming at you with some Anvil gameplay, and today we're going to be talking about Anvil's passive. Should Anvil have this much of a powerful passive, or should this be a perk that is rolled out to several rogues in Rogue Company? Let's head over and let's talk about it. So the current passive ability for Anvil is called Immune, and you gain immunity from disorient and blind effects. Now, disorient effects, I'm not sure. I know that Sigurd was kind of the one that wasn't affected by like slows and things like that. I'm not sure if Anvil is just not affected by tear gas. I mean, that would be a very interesting way of, like, I don't know. I've never really thought about it, or even, saw situations that's popped up where it's like, oh, they have tear gas and I'm in the tear gas with Anvil. So it's something that I've never really noticed. But the main thing that we're talking about here is the blinding effects, flashbang effects, right? Now, this is much like the Ronin situation, to where, like, if they removed Ronin's passive ability and they brought the cloak perk back into the game, and they distributed that cloaked perk to several of the different rogues in the game and gave Ronin a different passive ability, how would that affect the game overall as a whole? Now, back in the day, whenever the game first released, there was a fantastic way to know how it worked because it was very, very good. You had rogues that had access, not only Ronin with her passive, but rogues that had access to the cloaked perk, where whenever you had the cloak perk, it would reduce the reveal duration, which whenever you're playing against certain team comps was absolutely imperative to be able to run those types of characters with those types of perks to be successful. So if we're applying that same logic over here to Anvil and what his passive ability is, if we rework Anvil's passive ability completely and they give a perk out there that allows you to reduce the effectiveness of flashbangs. I'm not talking about being completely immune, but I'm talking about reducing the effectiveness of the flashbang itself. How would that impact the game overall? I mean, currently we have, 3 to 4 rogues that have access to flashbangs, which means that an entire team comp can pick up rogues that have access to flashbangs, and for good measure, they could just pick up a runway and they have even more flashbangs. And the flashbangs last to such an extent that there's a lot of interesting things that can happen with those flashbangs. You're able to throw them right out of the gate with someone like Switchblade, for example, close gaps very, very quickly. And will you remain flashbanged whenever Switchblade closes that gap? Sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't. It just depends on at what range that you're getting hit with it. Once you upgrade the flashbang, you reduce the cooldown of the flashbang, first of all, and then you also increase the explosion radius of the flashbang, which means that you're flashing more people. Currently, there's no mechanic in game to avoid being flashed. Like in a lot of games, if someone throws a flashbang towards you, you can look away and you won't get hit with the flashbang effect, or if you do, it'll be to a lesser degree than like being full flashed in the face. You know what I'm saying? So if they redistributed the idea of Anvil's passive to several rogues, then you would have some really, really good hard counters, situational perks to be completely fair, but some very good counters that you would need in those situations. Now, there's a lot of situational perks that do exist in the game currently, I would say. And because of that, I don't think it's that much of a big deal to introduce a perk that allows you to gain some type of reduction in that flashbang. We already have 3 tiers of perks in the game currently, and it makes sense to have a flashbang. Let's say that the duration's 5 seconds, right? With the legendary, you're cutting it down to like 1 to 1.5 seconds. With the epic version of it, you're cutting it down significantly by like to 3 seconds. And then with the rare version, you're cutting it down to 4 seconds. I mean, shaving a second off of that flashbang time is still very, very, very interesting. And also it provides this idea of like, okay, who has access to the perk? Does it make sense for me as a player using a rogue that has flashbangs to pick those flashbangs up? Because you may get 1 round, you may get 2 rounds on someone, but if you're playing respawn game modes and someone starts throwing flashbangs or starts picking Mac up, then your entire team is going to focus around the idea of avoiding those flashes as much as possible. It's kind of like the idea of tenacity, right? If you're playing against a group of players that you know are going to be very melee heavy, very melee intensive, you are going to prioritize rogues that have access to tenacity, specifically the legendary version of tenacity, in order to try to mitigate as much, melee aggravation as you possibly can. The same idea and the same logic applies with a perk like this 110%. I wish that they would do something like this. For me personally, I think that, Anvil could use a better passive ability, in my opinion. I think its passive ability is very situational, much like Ronin's passive ability. I think that passive abilities and active abilities in Rogue Company should be something that is like kind of universal, that it doesn't matter what team comp you're going up against, you are going to gain the benefits of those passive abilities for those specific rogues, and you take those things that are situational and you put it into the perk kit. I mean, that's why the perks exist. They're supposed to fill these gaps in ways that your passive and active abilities aren't. So I think that if they did that, it would be something that would be very beneficial and bring a lot of value into Rogue Company. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. What do you think of redistributing Anvil's passive ability, at least the reduction of flashbang side of it, and how do you feel about reworking Anvil's passive? What type of passive would you give him? Now, I didn't really think of a passive to give him. I didn't really think that much in depth about it because it's something that, like, let's be honest, realistically probably isn't going to happen. But I think that there's a lot of cool things that you could do with Anvil's passive that would make him, a little bit of a better rogue. I mean, he's already a fantastic rogue, but I think that they could make him a little bit more interesting overall, to say the least. But be sure to let me know what you think in the comments. Also, be sure to check that description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Lastly, on Thursdays and also on Sundays, I will be streaming here on YouTube. So if you are interested and available, please feel free to stop by and say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys.
I'm dead. Oh my god. I didn't know everybody else did go away.
I just ran through mid. I don't know what these dudes are doing.
Let me just straight play ass, my. Oh my god, like for real. There's not a single folly fucking die.
No! No!
Oh my god, you ran out of ammo.
I would have had him too.
Oh my god. Yes, you would have. Because they did not go A last. Oh yeah, see, like Dallas. Oh my god.
There's another one up there behind the cover.
Yeah, he's hurt.
He's backing out.
I hit him for 85 right there.
Here. Oh. He's resin.
Another contract in the bag.
I need help! Fucking asshole.
Yeah, right.
I mean, literally, he waits the end. I need help! Like, done something this whole game. Yep. First game already dropped a 20 bomb. That's what I'm talking about.